Close your eyes. Now imagine you're on a tropical island. The sun is shining down on you while you're working online. Your breaks are swimming in the ocean or exploring a new town. Every night you go out to eat and have the most fresh and delicious meals that cost a third of what you'd pay in North America. Now what could possibly go wrong with this? A lot. A lot can go wrong with this. After 6 years of trying to make this overly glamorized lifestyle work for me, I've come to some hard realizations about building my career while traveling. In this video, I'm going to break down some of the realities of being a digital nomad, and at the end we'll talk about if this is something you should consider doing or if it's just overhyped. Before I get into this fascinating topic, I'm Jen and welcome to my channel, where I talk about all things travel, career, and lifestyle. If you're interested in any of those things, please hit that like button and subscribe. Some of you might be wondering, what on earth is a digital nomad? This is an employee, freelancer, or entrepreneur who is able to do their job online while traveling to some or multiple locations. And during this period of travel, there are a lot of amazing experiences a digital nomad will encounter, but also a myriad of issues, including constant surprises. One of the allures of being a digital nomad is having this unconventional lifestyle where you break away from societal norms and have a more balanced lifestyle. Yet in practice, this doesn't really pan out like that, and it's more like opening a surprise gift each location you go to and having to just deal with whatever the reality is. The travel gifts you don't want to receive include uncomfortable accommodations, terrible Wi-Fi, being poorly located, not having access to transportation, not being able to meet people, and dealing with things breaking or being stolen. All of these things are general travel issues that will pop up, and adjusting to new locations is a skill that you'll get better at over time. But now imagine having to adjust to constant changes when you have meetings and deadlines. It's possible, just unnecessarily stressful. But you can always readjust your time to plan out moving locations. Speaking of time, another part of digital nomading that is not talked about is you might spend more time working. One of the main selling points of why to try a digital nomad lifestyle is to have more time to experience new cultures and see more things. The truth is, if you want to keep up with your job, business, or clients, you might be finding yourself putting in more time to do the exact same amount of work. For two simple reasons. Unless you have an amazing accommodation or co-working space, finding dedicated work time to concentrate is hard. And when you change locations, it is very easy to stop keeping up with your positive habits. If you are very intentional about working in the mornings, but the Wi-Fi is really slow, or the cafe that you're working from is too noisy, it will completely change your day, and you'll have to make up for that lost time later. Or you don't, and prioritize having fun and lose those clients, which is something that definitely happened to me. But this all depends on what you actually want from your career, and this brings me to point number 3. If you go, it's hard to grow. Look, not everyone is motivated by their career or wants to be a business owner, and that's completely fine. But by growth, I'm referring to both personal and career growth. And after seeing patterns repeat for 6 years, I started to notice that by constantly changing environments, the majority of your efforts will go to exploring a new place instead of working on yourself or your career. It's like replanting a flower every week and wondering why it's not blooming. Sometimes we just need to be still and patient. But there's this common myth we tell ourselves that if we change locations, suddenly every problem in life will magically be fixed. Maybe it will make us healthier or work more efficiently, but this is rarely the case. Being in a new place is exciting for 1 to 3 months. Once the adrenaline wears off, a lot of people suddenly have an urge to leave. My guess, after seeing this repeat over and over, is after the initial excitement, things become really similar to your previous life. And in that similarity, you're forced to mentally face the things you'd rather ignore. And when it comes to personal routines, it's hard to create good habits and extremely easy to break them. Maintaining them is partly a mental effort, but it also depends on your environment. If you're always in a state of chaos, then things like prioritizing exercising, meditation, cooking for yourself, or practicing time management will quickly become less and less important. We are just a collection of our small habits. So once we lose them, it can feed into the vicious cycle of digital nomads feeling bored or uncomfortable in a new place and needing to travel to get rid of those feelings instead of dealing with it. But on the other hand, I think many digital nomads are actively seeking personal answers and are trying to rethink societal expectations by having an alternative lifestyle. This is really commendable because it takes a lot of courage to try things out and seek answers. This brings me into some things I'd recommend to make your experience as a digital nomad more positive. Create purpose for yourself everywhere you go. Aimlessly traveling with no purpose becomes mentally exhausting. Create intentionality by going to places where you can learn something new. If you want to learn how to make really great pasta, take a cooking class in Italy. If you want to surf, stay in Costa Rica. Do a yoga retreat in Bali, or network in a larger city and search up events. This shift in mentality will make your experience a lot more meaningful. Slow down. I am not anti-travel, but I no longer like moving around very quickly when working. It's so much more relaxing to have a home base for a few months and use that as an anchoring point to go and explore things around that area. When you slow down, you actually enjoy smaller trips to places around you, and you prevent yourself from burning out. Another benefit, it's a lot more cost-effective to rent an apartment long-term than stay at hotels. You get what you pay for. Trying to work remotely from a $25 a night hostel or a $70 a night Airbnb are completely different experiences. A lot of the issues that I mentioned in the constant surprises part of the video can easily be avoided if you're willing to spend a moderate amount on accommodation. The last tip is, be open-minded. If you're able to travel, use the experience to learn about the world. Discover different cultures, languages, food, and mentalities. Understand that you are a visitor in someone else's country. It's your responsibility to be respectful and not impose your worldview on someone else. Learn some phrases in another language and humble yourself to learn new things. Traveling is a wonderful experience that I would encourage everyone to do in their lifetime if they have the opportunity. It really expands your worldview and it makes you rethink your own life. After speaking very candidly about some of the common issues of being a digital nomad, I'm really curious to know if any of you watching have tried this lifestyle. I would love to know what your experience was like. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Comment below. And if you haven't, is it something that you ever would consider? I'm also really interested to find that out. Thank you so much for watching, and I will be back soon with some more videos.